Now in step 4 of our process of making the cover for our book, I have gathered the supplies that we'll need to do our front and back cover, and cover those in decorative paper. And of course I need my text block. I have my decorative paper. I have a bone folder. I have my wet cloth. I have my glue again. And I'll be using a card to apply it, or a brush, whatever you need for your type of glue. And I have my scissors here. So those are our supplies that we're going to need to move forward with this next segment, which will be putting the paper on the front and back covers. The first thing that we do want to do before we do the paper is now is the time to go ahead and trim the fore edge of your book. Where covers here had extended a little extra, but now at this point, now that we have stitched in, glued in, our text block, now will be the time to go ahead and trim that to the correct size. I'm going to leave a little bit extra on mine, maybe about 1/4 of an inch, sticking out from the edge, because I know that I'm going to be adding some tabs and things like that that I want to fall within the cover. So I have gone ahead and trimmed those. The front and the back cover are now trimmed to the size that I want. And the next step then is we need to go ahead and trim our paper, our cover paper, to the size that we need. I have a sheet that I've already done that to, and I wanted to show you my process for doing that, for determining the size that I'll need. And so I went ahead and took my whole sheet of decorative paper, and I took one of my cover pieces, and I just laid that out on the whole big sheet of paper. And I went ahead and marked off just this small piece of paper. And I determined that by laying my piece of paper to where it comes in onto the duct tape, or whatever you've used to bind the edge of your book with the spine, so that it will come up on that tape and cover that by maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, whatever looks good to you. And then I went ahead and drew all the way around the 3 other edges of my book. And if your sheet does extend this direction, you'll want to go ahead and make marks there so you know where to draw that line. Okay, so once I had this drawn out, and then I have a bigger sheet that is extending from there, I did measure out from my drawn line of my cover about 1/2 inch on all 3 sides, and I've trimmed it. So now I have a piece of paper that I'm going to use for my cover, and on the wrong side I have drawn out the exact size of my actual cover and a margin then of about 1/2 inch, all except on the edge that's actually going to hit over my tape. So just to give you an idea of how that will be, if I lay this down where it goes over my tape, once it's glued on, then I have those dimensions drawn. And that's going to help me in the gluing process. Right? So I want to go ahead and do that actually to 2 sheets of paper, one for the front and one for the back. And once that you have that drawn and cut out, the next step will be to take your glue, and within the drawn area, not the margin, but just the drawn area, we want to go ahead and apply glue. Once you've applied your glue, then you'll be able to take the book with the cover, and using the pencil lines as your guide, you'll be able to line that up, lay everything down, smooth it out really good with a bone folder, and then you can flip it over to the other side and do the same. Now I already have the second side of my book that I have done that to. So here on this piece, on this cover side, I have my sheet that I have applied the glue to. Everything's glued down. I went ahead and flipped the book over, and smooths everything out, and you can see it comes up on the duct tape and covers that edge of the duct tape as well. Okay. So once you've done that with a side or even both sides, then what we need to do is we need to finish off the edges. And to do that, what we'll do is we'll go side by side, and we will fold the paper up and use your bone folder, get a nice crisp line so that it's folded. And then unfold it and move on to your next side, doing the same thing. And you're going to do that until you've worked around all three sides. Okay, so those are folded. And then we need to address the corners. So at this point, what I'll do is at the diagonal, I'll go ahead and fold that up to where it meets right against the board. And I'll use my bone folder again. And then here we're going to want to trim off some of that triangle, that edge in the corner of your book. And I would just go ahead and take your scissors and cut some off. I would, though, advise that you cut a little less than you think you need, because you can always go back and cut more off, but you can't really put it back. So, for example, let me just fold that up a little bit. If I had cut this short, I would wind up when I fold it up with a section that you can see the board. So you don't want to cut it too close. You want it so that when you fold those up, they overlap, similar to what you'd want to accomplish kind of in wrapping a package. So now those corners fold up, and I have both of those trimmed. And if it seems a little long, you can go back and cut just a little bit more off. You have those to where they're all folded up, and everything is trimmed at your corners. Then what you'll want to do is fold them back out and go around your book one side at a time and apply glue and fold it up. Use your bone folder, make sure it's glued down nicely. Use your cloth to remove any glue from your hands, any glue that comes out on the book. And you'll just want to go ahead and work all the way around until you have all three sides glued down. And then a side of your cover will be done, and then you'll want to do that on the other side as well. So once then that you have both of those glued and the insides glued down as well, that will be where we'll stop for this segment, and in our next video segment we'll go ahead and finish our inside covers with paper. And I would like to just show you a couple of additional tricks that you can do on the inside cover if you'd like to include a pocket.